Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our session today. So, as you all know, please keep yourself muted throughout the course of the session. So, questions, we appreciate taking the questions towards the end. So, please park your questions towards the end of the session. And of course, during the course of the session, you're most welcome to put in your questions in the chat window. So from this meetup group, we are doing a lot of webinars. And so if at all you're interested to be a part of the meetup group, please hit that link. And today's webinar is going to be recorded. So after the session, we'll be sharing the video recording as well as the slides with all of you. With that, let's dive into our session today. So today what we are going to be talking about is we are going to discuss the Office 365 and Power Platform monthly updates. So we are going to just do a briefing of these updates. This is basically a series that we have planned. So what we are basically trying to do is on the first Saturday of every month. So we all wanted to plan a session of this sort so that we are just talking about all the updates which was released on the previous month. Say for instance, if we are doing it on July, we'll be talking about the updates which was released in June, and maybe some more updates which was launched in the first week of July, like sort of whatever comes within that time frame. So that is how we have planned it. So please make sure that you start marking your calendar for these sessions. So the idea is to do it on the first week of every month moving further. So this is our agenda today. So the Microsoft Teams updates will be given by Narasimha Perumal. SharePoint online updates has been planned by Nandeep Nachan and Kirti Prajapati. Power Platform updates will be given by Manoj Mittal. When it comes to the other areas, things such as Azure AD, Exchange Online, Yammer, Stream, and other updates will be given by myself and Vijay Anand. And so just in case if you're not seeing a particular product or service, it simply means that there is no update for that particular product in that given month. So please keep that in mind. And so our prime focus for today's session is we will be focusing only on the June 2020 updates. And since we are doing it, the session is the first time, we thought that let's also include some noteworthy updates from CYQ to 2020. I mean, updates from May or some April, some noteworthy updates, things that you really want to know. Okay. And of course, the enterprise mobility and security updates, we wanted to cover that from next session onwards due to the time bound. We just want to do this session and understand how much time it takes so that we learn from this session, and then from the next session onwards, we can plan it accordingly. And sort of a disclaimer, so we, as I was talking, we will be talking about the updates that has been launched and which has already started rolling out, right? We do not want to talk about updates which is still under development, because from our engineering team there is a lot of updates which we plan, and there are various reasons wherein we say that this has been planned, but we want to plan it for, we want to push it for 2 to 3 more months from now, from its original plan date, or maybe due to some reasons we couldn't deliver it. So there are obvious reasons for that. We don't want to get into those and discuss why we are shipping an update and why we are not doing it. So we want to just be talking about the ones that are launched and ones that are going to be rolling out. And so we will be talking about features which are in private preview also. Now when I say private preview, from Microsoft, we announce certain features, and that's mainly meant for tap. So if you as a customer are interested on that, you can go ahead and sign up for that update, and that particular feature or update will be rolled out to your tenant. So we'll be talking about that as well. And the very important point here is we are all gathered here to understand what are the updates, and we are not here to debate about whether an update is right or wrong. So let's be very cautious about that, and because this session is also being recorded. So with that being said, let me hand it over to Perumal to give the updates from Microsoft Teams. Over to you, Perumal. Thank you.
Hi, good evening all. This is Narasimha Chandramohan. I'm co-founder of GG Technologies Private Limited, and my company provides solution for Teams migration and planner migration. And I am an Office 365 MVP. So I am going to discuss about the Microsoft Team updates. So first we shall see about the updates in the Microsoft Teams meeting and calling. So very first thing is, suppose if you have opened a meeting URL in browser, you will be going to see a new launch experience where you will be provided with the crystal clear option to download a desktop app, or if you want to continue the meeting in the browser itself, or suppose if you have already installed the Teams in your machine, you can use the app to join the meeting. And then we have hands raise feature in the team meeting. So if the attendees have any questions, they can use this feature, and the presenter can see the list of attendees who have raised their hands. And once he answers the question, he can do the hands down. And then the end meeting. So this is a new feature that got rolled out. So before rolling out, before the availability of this feature, if you have started a team meeting, the meeting won't be get ended till all the users have hanged out of the meeting or they have left the meeting. So it will be in the process, in the progress. There are some situations which happened to me also. We have started a customer meeting. So both the side we had some discussions and we hanged out of the meeting, but the customer has not yet hanged out of the meeting. We have also started the recording. What happened is that from the customer side, the recordings have just recorded. Their conversation also started recording. So to avoid this kind of situations, we had the new option, end meeting. So the meeting organizer can go and end the meeting. Once he does this, the entire meeting will be ended for good for all once, and the recording everything will be get ended. And then now you can start downloading the attendance report for the team meetings. So it is very useful in the education sectors where the teachers can see the list of students who have joined the meeting, and they can also uh, see the time the student have joined and they left. So it will be provided as a CSV file format. And then for the team meetings, the members count has been increased to 300. And then the next update is when you schedule a meeting in Teams, you can just pick the people, the users alone for the meeting. Now we got the ability to add distribution list and the modern groups, that is Office 365 groups during the meeting schedule. So the teams will resolve the members automatically and it will schedule the meeting. And then we got a new update in the team meeting policy. So the new update, what the new update is that, so in the team meeting policy, Microsoft going to enforce lobby for all external users, including the attendees joining via audio conferencing. Suppose if you have using the default meeting policy without making any changes, this change going to impact you. Suppose if you have made some changes to the default team meeting policy, it is not going to impact you. And then another update in the team meeting policy. So now in the team meeting policy, now we have another setting called who can present in team meetings. So the tenant admin can set who can present in the team meetings, whether it is everyone in the meeting or the people in my organization alone or the specific people alone. So this is another update on the team meeting policy. And then we have the policy for custom background image now. So earlier we got during the video calls we can do the option, the background blur, or we can set the custom background, or we can set a Microsoft provided background image. So the end user capabilities are already rolled out. Now we got the IT admin, the controls for IT admin. He can decide whether what are the controls I can provide it to my end users. So the first option, blur and default background, means so the end users can use the blur option and the default background images provided by Microsoft, or blur only. He can do the blur option alone during the video call, or all filters, means he is open to use the custom background image, blur, or the default background images provided by Microsoft, or no filters. There he can't do anything. Uh, he can't do the blur, or he can't set the any color background images. And now let's see the updates related to messaging in Teams. So this feature, the multi-window chat, has been rolled out. So now if I can pop out a chat window, now I can pop out a chat as a separate window. So I can have multiple workflows in my Teams. I can continue to do that. So this feature is going to be extended for team meetings also in upcoming months. So you can pop out a team meeting also as a separate window in upcoming months. And then the read receipt. This feature is completely rolled out to the worldwide, and using read receipt it is something similar to in WhatsApp. You get the visual indications whether the message has been delivered, seen. Suppose it has been seen, who are the users who have seen my messages, like that you will be getting all the visual indications. And then the mobile app. In Teams iOS mobile app, we have the new feature called on-demand translations. Suppose using this feature, I can translate either the team chat message or a channel message. Either I can select that particular message and do that translation. And then in the group chat, the number of the members count has been increased to 250. And then we have an update related to sharing policy, screen sharing policy. Earlier, the screen sharing policy is binded with the policy called allow private channel policy. Suppose if you have disabled private calling policy, you can't do the screen sharing anything. So what Microsoft does is that they have uh, segregated this screen sharing policy as a separate thing. Now this policy is available as a separate thing called screen sharing mode policy. And then now we have sensitivity labels. So using from Office 365 Security Center, you can create sensitivity labels, and then you can apply these labels to your groups, to SharePoint site and the Teams everywhere. So once you create sensitivity labels like a confidential, normal, low business impact, high business impact, like that, you can create various labels. And according to the labels, you can set the controls. Suppose if it is a highly confidential, the label is highly confidential. If you don't want any guest users to be added as a member in a team, you can set that no guest users are allowed, like that. Suppose if you have a confidential team, if you want the team to be created as only as private, you can set that. If it is a low impact, you can provide the option of creating as a public group or a public team or a private. So once you create the sensitivity label in your Office 365 Security Center, you will be seeing that new screen in the left side. You will be seeing some screen as in the left side. So users will be provided with a new option of selecting the label sensitivity label. So if he select according to the selected label, the options, the privacy settings will change. In our example, I have set if it is a confidential team, it should be only private and no guest access should be provided, like that. I have made settings so the public and archive settings are disabled. And on the right side, you can see the label that has been applied for the team. So in the top right, you can see the team has been applied with the label confidential. And then now we got the policy of now we can apply a team policy to batch of users. Earlier, before availability of this capability, to apply a policy to apply a team policy to a large number of users through PowerShell, what I need to do is that I need to have a CSV file with the list of users, and then using PowerShell a for loop, I need to do the iteration and apply the policy to each users, like that. I need to do that. Now we got the new PowerShell command, let new CS batch policy assignment operation. Using this command let, I can assign a team policy to a batch of 5,000 users. Up to 5,000 users, I can assign the policy. So once I start this command let, what it does is that it will return me an operation ID. Using this operation ID, I can check the status whether it is completed or it is in progress. So once I started this command let, the assignment will be done in the background. So I need to query the operation ID to know the exact status. In this commandlet, I can either specify the object ID of the user or SIP of the user. Suppose if there are any duplicates, this commandlet will automatically remove the duplicates before making the batch processing. So what is the recommendation is that for best results, do not submit more than few batches at a time. And also, please wait or allow the batches to complete the processing before submitting more batches. Till this point, we have seen the updates related to messaging, meeting, and IT Pro updates also. Now we are going to see the updates related to developer platform. So this is resource specific consent or RSC. So as everyone, the developers know that to use Teams Graph API, we need the permission called group.readWriteAll. So if I use this permission, I need the tenant admin consent to use my app in a particular enterprise. So it is one of the major blockade for the apps to get adoption in the major enterprises. So to solve this problem, Microsoft introduced granular permissions and also resource specific consent. So using resource specific consent, uh, I can request for specific permission like reading the channels or creating a channel or replying to a channel message like that. I can request for a specific permission for a specific team. So in this case, I don't need the permission of the tenant admin. So the team owner can do the consent, provide the consent for the Teams app. So this is the screen. In the left side, you can see that the old group.readWriteAll permission. If you are using that permission, you will be getting you need to get the team admin consent. Suppose if you are using the RSC, the resource specific consent, the team owner can provide the consents. And then the final update is Azure AD SSO. So suppose if you have developed a Teams app and if you are opening your app as a tab in the team, even though you have used Azure AD authentication for your app, still the users need to sign in again using the Azure AD authentication again. This is the thing we had. Now finally Microsoft rolled out Azure AD SSO for the third-party apps also. So to use this, the existing apps need to make some modifications and they need to update their libraries. So once you do this, uh, the users no need to authenticate again. It will automatically authenticate with the logged in user context, the team user context. It will log in with the existing team user context. So currently it got rolled out for tab alone, and in coming months it will be going to be available for uh, bots also. So that's all. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for sharing the updates. So next is Nandeep.
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me and see my screen?
Your voice is very feeble, Nandeep.
Okay. Is it fine now?
Not yet.
Not yet. Better?
Yeah, it's better now. You can share your screen.
Okay. All right. Great. So, hi all. Good morning or good evening. Myself Nandeep Nathan, and I am Office 65 MVP for Office Apps and Services. And during this session, we will discuss the SharePoint updates that has been rolled out or in development or being rolled out during June 2020. So there have been various updates from this scale of small to larger, ranging from file upload limits and even to the development updates like SharePoint Starter Kit. So let's go through it one by one. So first one is file upload size. So Microsoft has increased the
your screen is not visible.
Screen is not visible.
Yeah.
All right. Is it visible now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So hi all. So during this session, we will discuss these SharePoint updates, specifically SharePoint Online updates for June 2020. And as you can see that there are various updates ranging from smaller updates like file uploads to the larger updates for the development side. So let's talk about those updates one by one. So first one is the file upload size. So Microsoft has increased the maximum file size or maximum file upload size from 15 gigabytes to 100 gigabytes for individual files. So these limits applies to individual file being uploaded or synced and not to your total storage. So for any of the larger file that is a few gigabytes, it is still recommended to use the OneDrive sync app rather than using the website upload feature. But the good thing is that now the maximum increase size is from 15 GB to 100 GB for individual files. Second thing is acronym answers with Microsoft Search in SharePoint. So before we dive into it, let's catch up on the history of this acronym. So the users who often run into unfamiliar acronyms and abbreviations used by their organizations or within a team. So the terms that are specific to organizations or a particular team might be new to a people who move from one team to the another, or for those who work with the internal partners, or for them who join the organization newly. So in that case, this acronym answers allow search administrator and editors to create a definitions for commonly used acronyms to help people discover its meaning. So search administrator can set up the editorial acronyms on the acronyms tab in the Microsoft Search Admin Center. And from there, you can define those acronyms and it can be used by everyone. So for example, I'm logged into my tenant. So from where we can get to those acronyms. So if you click settings, click Microsoft Search. So here under answers, you can see acronyms now. And over here, you can click add acronym, start the acronym. So this may be a smaller acronym like FAQ. Then the expansions will be like frequently asked questions. Then we will provide some kind of a description. And then there are two options like publish or save it to draft. If you publish it, then only user will be able to view it. So save to draft will be used whenever someone wants to review those acronyms and then only want to publish. So for example, someone can create the acronym but still have those in a draft state, and then after someone will review and then they will publish, and then only it will be available for everyone. So there are two status associated with each of the acronym, published and draft. So these are few of the acronyms I created, but at least I just created it less than 24 hours. But how it works is like when you go to Bing and you log in with your organizational account. In that case, if you try to search for any of the acronym which is here, for example, let's say we search for AKA. In that case, it should show that particular acronym here. But as I said, I did not create it well in advance, so those are not being shown here. But it takes up to 24 hours to get these acronyms reflected into search results. So all of your employees or teammates, if they are not sure of those acronyms, they can come here, directly search in the Bing, and they will be able to get the meaning of that particular acronym. So this is one of the major update that has been rolled out. The next thing is enabling this communication site experience for classic SharePoint team sites. So this is an optional feature which allows SharePoint admins and site owners to enable the modern communication site experience on any of the classic team site. So we can make any of the existing classic team site as a modern team site. So there are a few requirements, like the site must be a classic team site that is not connected to any of the Microsoft 365 group. So that means the site is created with STS-0 site template. Second thing is like the site must be a top level site in the site collection, so it cannot be a subsite. Third one is the user who runs the PowerShell commandlet should have the full owner permission on that particular site. And lastly, it's like the site must not have any SharePoint server publishing infrastructure features enabled onto that particular site collection. So if you are meeting those criteria, you will be able to enable the communication site experience for the classic SharePoint team sites. So as an example, let's take an example of this particular site, which is a classic team site, no customizations to it. So what we can do is from PowerShell, or I have already connected to my SPO service, and then we can run this command enable SPO com site by specifying the URL of that particular site. As we hit enter, it takes few seconds, and within those few seconds, it allows us to transform our site to a new site. So now that this one is ready, probably we can just open it up in a new tab. So let me take this tab out. If I duplicate this tab and just move to classic theme, in this case, now you can see that it is redirecting us to home1.aspx inside site pages. So this one is the same site, but now that it has got the flavor of modern communication site. So this is how you will be able to transform all of your classic SharePoint team sites to the modern communication driven sites. Okay. Next thing is site analytics. So this will help us to see that how much time, average time has been spent by people onto a given site. So Microsoft have added a new report onto the SharePoint site usage page. So probably let's move to that. So here I'm to a SharePoint site. If I move to site usage, so this details out the average time spent per user. So each site has this dedicated analytics page, and you will be able to trend line for the time people spend on site pages and news posts for ranging from 7 days to 30 days of period. The average metrics is calculated by comparing the total time spent on the page with the number of unique visitors on that particular page within that given time frame. So here you can see that the unique visitors have been decreased by 33% since last week, as I have selected last 7 days. At the same time, the site visits have been increased by 183% since last week. So as you select the timeline, it will show the result. So this is again a new feature. Again, in continuation with this, we have one feature which is still in development, but I wanted to highlight is that site analytics, cumulative analytics for the SharePoint hub sites. So as a background, SharePoint hub sites makes it easy to organize information and collaboration based on department, project, region, or a division. So this report provides site owners and the members of that particular site a cumulative insights into unique viewers, total site visits, top sites, then most of the popular content within that particular hub site. So again, this is still in development, but once it is rolled out, this is a hub site, and if you go to site usage, over here you will be able to see that filtration, so that you will be able to see the site usage data for hub and then a site usage data for a particular site. So this will be coming soon, but I just wanted to highlight this. Next thing is consolidated page for migration in the SharePoint Admin Center. So this is essentially the new migration landing page within SharePoint Admin Center, and it has everything you need, no matter from where your content is coming from. And then it is your one-stop shop for all of those files and contents into SharePoint, OneDrive for Business, and Microsoft Teams. So again, for here, if I go to SharePoint Admin Center, here we have the migration manager, but sooner here will be all of those options from where you will be able to see all of those sources at one place. But as of now, you can go to a desktop tool, download that particular tool, and from here you will be able to migrate your content from SharePoint 2010 or SharePoint 2013. At the same time, if you're looking out for any of the cloud content migrations, then in that case, you can enroll with the mover, which is again taken over by Microsoft. And with this mover.io, you will be able to migrate your content from any of the cloud migration. So including Amazon Workdocs, Box, Dropbox, Google Drive. So this is again a cool feature that is coming out. Then there is a updates onto the SharePoint default site themes. So over the last year, SharePoint has embraced the new Microsoft Office icons, uh, and a large part of this change is the transition of SharePoint identity from blue to teal kind of a theme. So it signals the shift in the identifying the color scheme. So updating the SharePoint default theme from blue to teal is the final step for adopting this new SharePoint identity. So with this update, you will see all those classic and modern SharePoint communication sites as well as the team sites updated to the teal theme. So again, for example, if you have customized those, then this will not be applicable for you. So this will not impact your sites in a way beyond the changing the colors from blue to teal. So as you can see in the image, for example, if you had blue kind of SharePoint site, it will be just translated to teal. But if in case you have already any of the customizations done using site designs, site scripts, in that case, this will not apply. So this will be done automatically. So next question is, do I as a user need to do anything? So answer is no, the update is automatic and no action is required by admins or users. So if you decide to keep a blue theme or just want to change the theme, site owners can edit the theme and change the look panel. So this change can be made at any time, and each site will require a manual change. So for example, from here, um, we can go to change the look, and from here you will be able to change that look. So by default, this will have a teal site theme applied if you haven't customized. Otherwise, if you are still having this old site, it will be following the blue pattern. But all of those new sites being created will follow the teal pattern. So starting from June, sites that have not been customized will switch from blue to this teal and does not require any kind of an action from the user or the administrators. So new sites will create by default or use by default teal theme until you change or if you apply the custom site designs. So this change will not impact any custom themes or settings that you have currently installed and applied within your tenant. So we do not have any option to opt out for an administration perspective. So for example, if you have a classic publishing site and which hasn't been customized with a theme, so it will be impacted. So this table shows all of those criterias. So likewise, for example, if you have a modern communication site and it is not customized with a theme, then again there will be impact. Okay. Um, the last thing I wanted to point out is the .NET standard version of SharePoint Online CSOM APIs. So before I deep dive into it, so just a note I want to make is like it is always recommended to use the Microsoft Graph APIs whenever it is possible. But if you need to use capabilities which are not yet exposed within Microsoft Graph API, you might need to fall back to the SharePoint Online CSOM APIs. So there is a new version of this SharePoint Online CSOM NuGet package, which includes .NET standard version of CSOM APIs. So this enables you to take advantages of SharePoint CSOM API surface within your .NET Core based solutions. So which unblocks you from using the latest versions of Microsoft Azure services. So in a simple words, authentication is completely independent of CSOM library now. So since .NET standard applications now uses OAuth for the authentication, it's up to the developers to get the access token and pass it along with the call to the SharePoint Online. The CSOM library does not care how the access token was fetched. So whenever we are making any app only calls to SharePoint, we either can use Azure Ready app registration with a client certificate, or even we can use the older approach of SharePoint app only authentication created by appreg new.aspx and as well as app inv.aspx pages. So let's see like how we can use this Azure AD app registration approach. So for that, I will okay, let me close this down. Okay, so I will switch to the Azure directory which is associated with my tenant, And once we go to app registrations, we have created one app here called as CSOM standard app registrations for SPO. And what we can do here is, firstly, we can specify the API permissions. So the permission here are being specified as full control onto a site, and then we can generate a certificate. So for example, if you want to create a certificate, again, you can fall back to the old code from PowerShell. So I have all that code mentioned onto my GitHub. So you can use this create self-signed certificate PS1 file, which is again provided by Microsoft, by which you will be able to create a certificate. So this file creates a certificate in both .cer and .pfx versions, but we can use pfx version because from there we'll be able to specify the private token also. So then once we have that certificate, we can upload that certificate here. And next thing is that we can upload that certificate to the certificate store under a personal certificate for a user who want to make or who want to get authenticated to SharePoint site. So once it is done, I have created one .NET application, and this application is using that app ID registration. So this is the client ID which is of that particular app registration, and this is the certificate thumbprint which we have got. And using this app ID and certificate thumbprint, we will be able to connect to our SharePoint site. Okay, because earlier in the earlier days when there wasn't any support for .NET Core, we used to have SharePoint online credentials where we used to pass the username and password, and from there we had a chance to connect to SharePoint Online. But with this, then we can create app registrations inside Azure and you use that. So probably I can just run this. This is very simple code. I'm just connecting to a SharePoint site and just printing out the title. But how we are connecting is through app registration. So if I run this particular code, maybe we can fall through those debug points, which will make you very much clear about this implementation. So okay, it is running. All right. Is it waiting for somewhere? Yeah. So first thing is that we are getting the certificate from the local certificate store. So in the local certificate store, as of now, you can see that I have one certificate which is matching with the thumbprint what we have given. So this is that particular certificate. It gets that particular certificate and passes it to the next method, which gets the token out of that particular certificate. So from here we can get this long access token, and this token will help us to get connected to SharePoint online site. So as I continue through those debug points, using that particular client ID, thumb, and that particular token, we were able to create the context by which we'll be able to connect to SharePoint site. And then again, after this, it is a normal CSOM code that you can get to a web using the context. You can load that particular web, do the execute query, and there you will get the entire object of web, and from there you will be able to fetch the title which is being shown here. So this is very much simple. You just have to register your app inside Azure Ready, create a certificate, apply it at both places. First one is to the standard API which we have here, and the next one is in your certificate store, and that's it. You will be able to make a call to SharePoint Online. So I think yeah, with that I'm done from updates from my side. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Nandip. Kirti, you're up next.
Yeah, Vignesh. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, we can see you and we can hear you as well. Yeah.
Okay.
See
Yeah. So thanks, Vignesh, and thanks, Nandip, for wonderful updates on the SharePoint. Now, I'm also going to speak about some updates that is also related to the SharePoint, but mostly those are associated with the SharePoint list and libraries. So before that, I'm just giving my brief intro. Myself, Kirti Prajapati, and I'm working as an independent consultant and Microsoft MVP in office development. And as you know that today we are going to speak about the June 2020 SharePoint update. So I'll talk about few updates from the quick edit list and libraries, and sharing links, blocks, download for PDFs file, and some other specific files. So first I'll talk about how we can improve the quick edit experience for SharePoint list and libraries. And I have two things which is already available in my tenant. The first one is the when we are in quick edit mode for any list, then we have the new option available. So from there you can create a new item. So there is no need to exit your quick edit view. So you can easily create a new item from there. And let's say, for example, if your list or library have more than 100 items, then initially in quick edit view, we have only 30 items by default available. So now the capacity of that view is increased from 30 to 100. So let me explain you that. So this is my list, a SharePoint list where I have hundreds of more than 100 records, and the name of the list is 100 plus items. Now I'm clicking on the quick edit, and you can see here the new item, new link is available. So from here you can also create a new item, and that can be saved into your list. And the second option is whether whenever I am in a quick edit view, I can have more than 100 items to update. Right? So that is one thing. And the second thing is you can save a view in quick edit that is yet to be rolled out in my tenant. So that might be available in July. But whenever you are in quick edit view and you want to create a view, and you can save that view directly from there. There is no need to exit the quick edit mode. And the second one is create all column types directly from quick edit. So as of now, what happens, like if I let me exit this first, and if I want to add new column, then I can have all the columns available when I'm creating the list from here, right? Go to site content and create the list, create the column for that specific list. But if we are in quick edit mode, and then we have the limited number of columns available. So by using that feature, we will have all the columns available here, and you can create any column with any data type from the quick edit view mode. So that is there. So in this screenshot you can see that there all the columns are available if you want to create a new column from the quick edit mode. And the second is view and edit items in forms inside of the quick edit mode. So this is the base feature that the developer or the people who are mostly working with the editing items. So now we have that feature. When you are in a quick edit mode, you can view the item and edit the item from there. So there is no need to like scroll right side of the, let's say for example, if you have hundreds of column, then you have to scroll right side to just to update a specific item, even you are in the quick edit mode, right? So now we have that facility available. So if you go here and select, yeah, so that feature is still available, not available, but maybe in July we'll have that. So from there you can edit item from there. And the second one is we have this updated hyperlink and date columns editor. So they have used the Fluent design for date picker control. So it will gives a nice look when you are working with the date picker in SharePoint list or library. This is yet to be available in the tenant. And then the base feature they have implemented is like you can select multiple items and edit their list items or document properties at once. So I'll show you that too. I have this document, I have this list, and if I'm selecting, exit this, if I'm selecting these 3 items and editing this, so you can see here it says 3 items selected, and it will allow me to edit the properties which can be editable as a bulk item. So here it says the last name and first name. There are 2 columns which I can update as a bulk edit. So if I want to update this, then I just have to add the name, save it. So it will automatically update those items in all the selected items. So that is a base feature that if you want to have a common value for most of the list item, then you can use this by editing or updating the properties for list or libraries. So this is not related to the quick edit mode, but it is a simple item selection from the list or library. And the second one is the base feature, like sometimes the requirement comes in, like if I have a SharePoint list and library which has the common field, and based on that I want to filter out some common information. So that will be used for that. So they are planning to roll out this connect web parts to consume dynamic data. So here in this screenshot, you can see in the left side, I have the project information SharePoint list, and in the right side, I have the planning documents document library. So in both the list and libraries, I have common uh, common name which is marketing as a project team and owned by the department who what team is associated with this specific document. So if I select marketing from the SharePoint list, then it will show that the records associated with the marketing project team only. So on to achieve this, we just need to add these 2 web parts on the SharePoint page, the portal page, and that they will, by configuring few of the properties, we will be able to get the result as a filtered result set from document library. And the second is update sharing links. So this is a base feature now, because sometimes we are sharing the links and we do not want that the person or the team or the group of people who are accessing this link are not able to download a specific file. So it allows to block downloads for PDFs, images, and audio files. So I'll show you that too. So I have this document library, and I have one file which I want to share, right? So here we have the option block download. So if you click here, it will be enabled, and the link which is shared with different users, those users will not be able to download this specific file, right? Yeah, so these are all basic updates from my end regarding the SharePoint list, a quick edit, and simple view of the list. And now Manoj will share his information on the Power Platform updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirti. Manoj, sir, over to you.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. So let me quickly share the screen. Hope my screen is visible to all.
Yep, you're good to go. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everyone. So I'm Manoj Mitra. So I'm going to talk about today all the Microsoft Power Platform update. So here I'm just going to talk about the Power Apps, Power Automates, and the Power BI updates in the current release. So we talk about the Power app. So this is a quite long time asked the features. So let me put it this way. So like we need to show the error message when we're developing any of the apps. So the new formulas has launched. If we just need to write a notify and just put the message on any of the button save click, it will start appearing here. So similarly, they have roll out the another message. So that is a notify if some default message or like default notifications we need to showcase here. Similarly for the warning, any warning we need to showcase. So we just need to put out here the warning as a text here. And similarly for the success message. So earlier we are going to create a custom notifications like that. Now it's available out of box in the Power App. So let me go and quickly show this one, this particular section. So for example, I created a one simple app. So this simple app, if I just click on the default, you see this messages start appearing here on the button click. If I'm doing any operations and need to show the warning message, something come up like that, some success message, some error message. So it will start appearing like that. It's just a simple formulas. Okay, so moving next. So the, Microsoft has launched some of the self features. So this is called a launch features. So from one of the Power App, if you need to launch any of the web URL or any of the other Power App, so that is the new formula they have launched. So that was earlier also available. So but earlier features wise like that, it was in a string format. Now they are called as a record set. So that's coming in the first as a URL. It can be Power App URLs or any of the URI. And here we are creating the proper record set, so it's easy to identify. And then that last section is called as a launch here. So it's starting. So let me show this demo on this screen. So for example, this is the one button I'm calling here the another app. So I created a two Power App simple. One is a notify and one is a product showcase. And this app I need to call from here. I just click it here. So it's going to launch within the same browser. My another app will start appearing here. So this is a new launch features. So this will work. We are going to use this type of formula. This is another one. This is another features has launched as a self operator. So if you see there is a self, like if we need to find out of the coordinate of the particular section, self.x, self.y, x and y coordinate of the particular screen on the Power App if we need to capture. So we can capture those sections also. Need to see, let me go back here again and show this section. Let me edit this one quickly. Okay, let it come. So in the meantime, there was a question asked in the community forum also, why we are saying the self as we have a this is using for a long time in a programming language. So they are saying it's not like hard and fast. We use the self instead of this. So we already have a couple of things with related to the this, like this item. And there are coming soon, there are a lot of other components with related to this. So it should not mislead. So instead of using the word this, so they use the just as a self operator. Yep. So if you see this section, so this is nothing as the text and just a formula for the coordinate. If I just go and drag and drop, we'll get the particular file's coordinate. So this is the another update came. This is also interesting. This was also the quite long time ask is modifying the timeout. So if we can use the exit formulas when we click on the exit, so it will just go back to all the assigned to me in the Power App. If I say the exit true, it will give the sign out and will come out from the particular app. So this exit formula also launched recently. So if you see this, so I have, sorry, launch it again. So here I just use it here. I click on exit. So it will take me back to all the apps which exist. It will not go out of the Power App context here. But if I use exit true, it will just sign out me from the Power App window itself. So like the exit true, so it will just sign out. This is another feature. So the next features, it's interesting. They have integrated the portals here. So once we see, like in the admin center, specifically, if we'll go in the resource sections, we have a portal options, and we can manage entire our portals from the admin center itself. So for example, here again, I'll just sign out if I already logged out. Let me close it. Yep. So let me go to the admin center of this. Yep. So let's sign it. I don't know. It should came up here. Sign it is what? Admin center. I think I have already signed it. Sign in. Sign out. User account doesn't exist in tenant. Anyway, that's fine. I'll just figure it out. So this is the portal sections will start appearing in our admin center, and we can manage our portals from here itself. The earlier that feature was not there. So another interesting features with respect to Power App. So this you see the green color. So earlier it was in the preview options, and now it has came into the journal availability. So we are good to go with the customer to use the entity extractor or the category classifications. These are the two AI builders process. So if you see the entity extraction, so basically entity extraction is something like a LUIS, if people are aware. So we can create our own entities, and here whatever the utterances or the phrases we are going to type, it will identify what are the keywords from this entity extraction. So category classifications, like once we are typing any of the particular phrases here, so we need to train the system with minimum 10 phrases. It's using the AI builder in the backend. So here it will identify what's the stuff, like whatever we will train accordingly, it will identify the suggested tag or the confidence level. And this is quite interesting feature. So in the Power App, like we can monitor and debug our published app. So let's see this one. Like if I select any of the particular app, we can select on the monitor. So there is a setting once we are doing anything in the particular app, and we can monitor each and everything. So if any errors is coming, any warning, and what's a logging is appearing. Okay, so let me show this quickly. Don't know. Yeah, so if you see this section, let me run it again. Let me close it. All these sections, if it's allow me to run. So here I select my particular app. It's a 5. You can see the monitor section. Once I select it will just open the monitor window here. So let it run. Connection string. Okay, I think some issues appearing. Okay, so publish app. It will show what are the app is published for this one. Sorry, I need to log in with a different account. Shouldn't sign out here. Yep. So if I click anything, so you see it's just a monitoring, it's getting recorded. So we can capture all the things, what is happening behind the scene, what controls I have clicked, and what the results, what's the timeline. So all actions. If I click anything here, so just again, so we can see that my log is getting increasing. This is again a quite cool features is introduced. Now moving to the flow, so that was for the Power apps. So in the flow, they have introduced the new actions, the AI builder. So it was earlier, but now it's came under the flow, all the AI builder features. So we can start using here. So if you see on the right hand side the screen, it's a trigger. We are getting all the AI builder related activity. So now moving to the next one. So this is interesting. So it's a form processing. It was also earlier, but there are a few updates comes here. So you can see in the first section where we are uploading any of the invoices within a PDF format, and my system can understand field and tables are automatically detected. This section. And the second sections, what they have, it's which are not automatically detected. It's still in preview this sections, but we can select and we can start using. If you see this particular section, it's not automatically came out. We can select and just mark it and start using those things. Another section is the resizing of the control. If my AI builder form processing is understanding the particular section, but still this length is not coming out, and we feel this length it may increase, we can resize this particular length and store the data accordingly. Another, we can just confirm the particular field. If it comes here, we can just come to know this particular field is what, and we need to rename, or we need to confirm that this field is assigned as a correct name. We can assign it those. This is again like the 6 new connectors it's introduced. So first is like the Azure IoT Central. So it's just Azure IoT Central is an app platform that make it easy to connect and monitor all the IoT devices related. LIFX. So this is basically for the smart house. If we have a smart lights within the office, outdoors or indoors, those lights are connected with a Wi-Fi enabled. So we can use those features using the MS Flow. Another is M365 messaging center. So whatever the M365 messaging centers, we have all the activity we can sync up with a planner. That is the new features here. EduFrames, so this is for the educational industries. So they have enhanced the solutions for the commercial training providers and the business school to attract more students and deliver the ultimate training experience. The virus tools, quite new connectors they have released. If we are using any of the malicious or the suspicious URLs, so we can notify using the MS Flow this activity. Office 365 mail group. So earlier we used to connect with our personal mail groups. Now we can connect with the Office 365 group mailbox also. Now with respect to the Power BI. So Power BI, they have, this is not for the Power BI. If you see here, ideas.power BI, where we are launching the Power BI ideas. So that is not using the our Azure Active Directory activity. So here is like what the enhancements they have done. This is navigate to the idea.powerbi.com, this sections, and we'll just need to sign out with our current user's account. It comes something like that. And then we can change the username to match our work or school accounts, and we'll save their profiles there. And then Microsoft is going to host one of the webinar to give the idea how we can use the work and school account to sign in with the idea.powerbi.com. That will happen on the 10th of July, and it will be come up now like that. So if you log into the ideas.powerbi, it's not going to come like that. It will not prompt you for your work or school account. So this is another features, new one on the Power BI sites. So they have rollouts. So here we can, it's a unified view of search the apps. So in the Power BI section itself, if we'll select and we can search all our required app in a unified way, and we can select and start using whether it's related to the organizational or related to our existing templates app. So this is an interesting one, the direct query supports. So what is directory? It's still in preview, basically. You can connect directly to the data flow without needing import data into the data set. So data set is stored into the Power BI, so we can directly connect. So here there is some settings we need to do for the direct query point of view. So this we need to enable data flow is in our active mode. In order to use this particular features, we should have a premium capacity plan for the Power BI. If you are using non-premium, then this feature will not be available. And after this, make it enable. We need to make it on this enhanced compute engine settings that is still in preview. So if we enable this one, then we can start using the direct query supports. And another updates came from the Power BI. They have launched the new gateway, that is the 3000.40.15. So the features of that, it's based on the mashup engine. And secondly, we can refresh the data via the gateway itself. Whatever our query is running, we can define within a gateway and start running. And that is also quite interesting features. So here for the page view point of view, whenever we are creating the Power BI report, and instead of doing the publishing and check how this report has come out, so we can see each page view, each page also how it will be look like. But once we select the particular page here for the preview, so it will come into the PDF format and we can find out like that. Yep. So that's all from my side. Over to you, Vignesh.
All right, thank you. So let me quickly share my screen. Okay. All right, so my name is Vignesh Ganeshan, and I work as a technical specialist for modern workplace and the enterprise voice solution area at Microsoft. So myself and my co-speaker Vijay Anand will be presenting the remaining updates such as Azure AD Exchange, Yammer, and other M365 services. Let's make it a bit quick because when it comes to the Azure AD updates, these are some set of updates that we want to share with you. I'll just try to quickly demo a few of them, and a few of them I'll just help you understand what it is. So the user risk condition and conditional access policy. So I believe everybody is aware of the conditional access policies that we have in Azure AD. So here I am. I'll just quickly go to the conditional access policy blade. Yeah, here it is. So I'm just trying to create a policy in here. Let this come up. Just give it a minute. Okay, so these are certain scenarios that you would normally pick up, right? Based upon certain conditions, it would give you access to a particular resource. That's what a conditional access policy means. So here, what we have is a recent update is you also have a sign-in risk. So basically where this is coming from is in Azure AD, we had something called as Azure AD Identity Protection, if at all you folks have used that feature. So Azure AD Identity Protection is something which helps you to sort of discover, investigate, and remediate any identity related threats. Basically, since Azure AD is the identity and access management solution, and in there you will see certain risk areas. Now, so based upon those risks, now you can call in those risks also when you're doing conditional access, wherein you can come and say when you want to configure it, it'll tell me like whether you want to mark a particular risk as high. So basically when it is marked as high, there will be based upon, and it will be start prompting for say MFA, or then it will say that the risk is high, so I simply can't allow you to access this resource. So now this was not there before. Now we also have something called as the sign-in risk. But the sign-in risk, what I'm trying to tell is this is something which was a feature of Azure AD Identity Protection. Now this is also something which has been ingested into the conditional access policy in Azure AD. The next thing is Azure AD B2B collaboration supports inviting MSA. So this is something which we are all aware of. So let me quickly go back to my Azure AD blade. So Azure Active Directory, and here I am in my external identities, right? So when I go to all identity, not this one, Azure Active Directory users. So basically in Azure Active Directory, we all know that the guest sharing happens over Azure AD B2B, right? Recently, if at all you keep following Azure AD for quite some time, if you think about how SharePoint online external sharing used to work, right? If I'm sharing with your Gmail account, you will be getting an email, and then it will prompt you to sign up for a Microsoft account. So recently, a couple of it's been a year, I believe. What we did is we took away that extra step of prompting you to go ahead and create a live account or a Hotmail account, so that we can simply directly collaborate with your Gmail account. Now that particular feature was available for Azure or other Office 365 enterprise or commercial domains. Now this particular feature is also being shipped towards Azure government tenants also. So basically in the US, you would be seeing a lot of Azure government tenants. So this very feature which I'm talking about, this is now available for Azure government tenants also. Then we have something called as manage authentication sessions in Azure AD conditional access. So once again, let me quickly help you understand. If I'm going to my Azure Active Directory conditional access, okay, so let me conditional access. So if I come in here, once again, when I'm trying to create a new policy, right, I'm not here to create a new policy. I'll just help you understand where that exact feature which comes up, right? So when I go to conditions, right, and when I go to this grant, so this is based upon certain things it will grant you, but you also have something called as sessions here, which has been recently introduced. So using here, you can come and you can specify your sign-in frequency. So so when you're sharing, or say for instance, how often should this user sort of sign in back? So these kind of time-bound controls were not there before. So now we have also introduced this sign-in frequency based upon after how much time or how much hours the user should be signing in once again, right? Because there are various reasons. What if this user is trying to access a resource externally, right, and he accessed it, and over a period of time we do not want to keep that session going on, we want to kill it, and we want to allow that sign in to happen once again, right? So this was a big ask in our user voice. So now we sort of said that we'll go ahead and give this feature also. So if there's something which you have been looking for, please be aware that this is a feature that has been rolled out for Azure AD conditional access. Now the next one is, of course, a lot of new federated apps are available in the Azure AD application gallery. So I believe a lot of you are aware of the list of applications that we have in the application gallery. If I go here, and this is something wherein we go ahead and we keep adding more and more and more and more of apps. If you take a look at these apps, these are just not Microsoft apps or just the Microsoft partner apps. We even also have our competitors here. You might have seen Google Cloud. We have other services also, and we have introduced many new apps here also, and this is something which we keep adding every single month, right? And the next thing which we wanted to talk about is API connectors for external identities. Now external identities was something which was in preview for quite some time. Let me go to external identities here, and around in build we went ahead and we made it publicly available to everyone. And external identities as a service itself, it is built on top of your Azure AD B2B, right? This was something which Manoj sir demoed in his last session. So basically you can come here and you can add in your Google identity, or you can go ahead and build in your Facebook identity, or it's just not that, a new SAML or WS fed IDP service provider, even that can also be added. So now what we are trying to give for this is we are also giving you some user flow or API connectors also. Now what this means is, if at all you have your own workflow or things of, you can just simply call these functionalities using these APIs. So this is something which is available. This is still in preview. If you have your own workflow, you can simply call these APIs so that you're integrating this functionality to your workflow or to any other application that you have in your environment. So this is something which is rolling out. And identity protection APIs. So this is something which I was talking in the beginning. If I go here, we have something called as Azure AD identity protection. Let me go here, all services, Azure AD identity protection. So this was a feature which was in preview for a very long time. It needs Azure AD P2 for this to work, and this is the one which detects your risky users, risky sign-ins, and risky detections also, right? Now say for instance in my scenario, it should risky users, yeah, it says that here there are some two risky users, it's Vijay and the admin, and there are some risky sign-ins also. It can give you across various days, last 1 month, last 24 hours, or all these things, right? And if you want to pull in this information to a different application, right? Because a lot of my customers, from an identity standpoint, right, they want to flash this information to their SIM or to their so any other SOC dashboard or whatever they have, right? So in that case, there is an API which has been released for this. You can just simply call these endpoints. They're all Microsoft Graph endpoints. Just go ahead and hit all these APIs, and you can flash this information, or you can integrate this information wherever you want. Right. And the next thing is sensitivity labels for your Microsoft 365 groups. This entire concept of sensitivity labels is something which was introduced around a few months, wherein you can configure your sensitivity labels in the Office 365 Security and Compliance Center, and then you can use those sensitivity labels in SharePoint, Exchange, and there are Teams, and there are a lot of other products which can take advantage of your sensitivity labels. So now in your Office 365 groups also, you can have this functionality. Now say for instance, when I'm trying to create a group here, let me just flip the switch and make it as Office 365. You see an option here to put in the sensitivity label, right? And as I was saying, you would configure the sensitivity labels in the Security and Compliance Center. Once that is done, you can just simply come here and you can set the sensitivity for a group using the sensitivity labels. It can be done for a new group, or if a group already exists, you can just simply come in here and you can apply that label for an existing Office 365 group also. Right, and provisioning performance improvements. What this simply means is now we have sort of improved the speed of user provisioning as well as app provisioning in Azure AD as opposed to what it was before, because we've heard a lot of performance related issues. So now from the engineering team, they have sort of improved the performance of the user provisioning as well as app provisioning in Azure AD. And the last one is my favorite one, Azure AD administrative units. So for folks who are not aware of this, and I believe this is something which a lot of your customers might have asked, because this is something which in recent times many of my customers have asked. What this simply means is, say for instance, if you're trying to configure an Office 365 tenant, right? And of course in Office 365, you can have a lot of domains, right? Now say for instance, there is a parent domain and then there are a lot of child domains. Now, what if there is a scenario wherein your client says that, I want an admin to manage only his set of users, right? Now, say for instance, there is something called as abc.com, and then there is cognizant.abc.com, and then there is a lot of such subdomains coming underneath, right? And an admin should be able to manage only his set of users, and he should not be able to touch other users. Now, this was not possible in Office 365 before, if at all you remember about it, right? Now, G Shoot had something similar to this. In G Shoot, they were calling it as organizational units, wherein you can put all your users into one bucket. Maybe users who are a part of a single domain, you put them into a bucket. Then you sort of give an admin to manage only those set of users, and then he can go ahead and reset passwords, manage accesses, and do all those kind of things. Now, this is what I'm talking about, administrative units. You can create an administrative unit, and then you can start adding users into this, and you can also say who's the admin who will be managing the users into this. So this guy can manage, he can only manage the users who are part of this particular bucket, right? He cannot manage users who are part of a different bucket. I've seen this ask coming mainly in M&A scenarios where multiple companies are merging up, for things of that sort. I mean, they all will be considered as a single company, but due to some compliance reasons or security reasons, they want to simply operate as a separate entity also. In those kind of scenarios, you could really use of this. This was something which was supposed to be launched a couple of years back. This was under talk, but back then we didn't do it, but now we have introduced this feature once again. So if this is something which you're looking for, now we have it, and it is in preview also. Right, so this is a reference for whatever I was. There are few updates which we didn't speak because we just want to be mindful about the time also. Now coming to Exchange Online updates on the Outlook on the web, now you can access your Team Snap account also. So Team Snap is nothing but it is a sports management app. Okay, it's a third-party app. Now in Outlook, what you can do basically in Outlook on the web, you have a connector wherein you can sort of integrate your Team Snap account also, and all your calendars, all your meetings or calendars or anything that you have in your Team Snap, that will start showing up in your Outlook app also. I'm not sure how many of us are using Team Snap. So if that is something which you have been interested upon, now we have this feature also. Then we have something called as Outlook on the web, view and edit sticky notes. What this simply means is we all have these sticky notes in our laptop. This is a sticky note. We have this app. So now say for instance, if at all sticky note is something wherein you would use to capture some updates or put in some reminders or whatnot, right? This sticky note will sort of sync with the notes that you have in your Outlook web. Now this is what I'm talking about, this particular functionality. You come here, you see notes, whatever updates you put in there, those notes will reflect here also. Now this is the update which I have on my computer on the sticky note app, and it is reflecting on my Outlook web app as well, right? But for this to work, please be mindful that you should be logging into your computer with Azure AD, right? And it should be all synced. Only then this is going to work, right? Because if this has a different authentication altogether and your Outlook is talking to a different authentication altogether, it simply won't sync. So please be mindful that you should be logging in with your Azure AD account. Then you open the Sticky Notes app, you make a change so that once you come to your email, you will be able to see that update also, so that these things are synced together. And then we are enabling modern auth for all managed tenants. Now, modern auth, as we all know, this is something which we have introduced for security, right? I think April 2017 is when we went ahead and we started forcing modern auth in all the Office 365 tenants. So things such as your MFA, or if at all you want to use any other external application-based authentication for things of all that sort, you need a modern auth. I've seen some companies wherein if you're trying to log in outside of your Office network, it will prompt for an MFA, right? It could be even your Outlook client, your Teams client, anything for that matter. When you're trying to access outside of your Office LAN, it will start prompting for your MFA. For that, please be mindful that you should have enabled modern auth on a tenant level. Only then those things are going to work, right? So now the update here is for all the tenants which were created after April 2017, the modern auth was enabled by default. But now what we have done is for tenants who was created even before 2017 also, we are forcing the modern auth to that. So if at all you're a company, your client or your own company has a tenant which was created before 2017, please be mindful that the modern auth is also coming to you folks. The last one is Cortana daily briefing email. Now, this is something which created a lot of noise, because what I'm talking about is Cortana has a feature to look into your emails and it will send you a daily digest email, something like, so I'm not supposed to be showing my email. Just give me a minute. Daily, yeah, this one, daily briefing, right? Now, this is a functionality of Cortana wherein it will start looking into all your emails and it will give you a reminder like this saying that, hey, this is what you said, and and it will also start linking some relevant documents to it. It is sort of a daily briefing which it will send to you, right? Now, this particular feature was also rolled out, and if at all you do not want to use this feature for whatever reasons, you can simply come to your Office 365 admin center, go to your organization settings here, org settings, and then you can come into this, right? You have your briefing email preview, and you can simply come in here and you have an option here to turn it off if that is something that you want to do. It's a nice to have feature, but then if you feel that for whatever reasons you do not want this happening, you can simply go ahead and turn it off also. Okay. So that's all I have to share from Azure AD and Exchange Online. Now to discuss the other updates, I'll hand it over to Vijay. Vijay, over to you.
Okay, Vignesh. I'm just sharing my screen. Are you able to see
Yeah.
the screen now?
Yes, we are good to go.
Okay. So now we will see about Microsoft Search, Yammer, To Do, Planner, and Outlook and our OneDrive updates. So we'll just directly get into this one, Microsoft To Do and support for SharePoint personal list. So what exactly it means is, like, for example, I have a Microsoft To Do and I've logged in using my personal ID. Okay, this is my personal ID Gmail account, and I have created few lists over here, like expenses, grocery, and shopping. So what I can do is, this is my personal account and I've created some list. This can be shared with my work account. Okay, so if I go to expenses, okay, just quickly close this one. So for example, shopping. Okay, so I just want to share this with my work account. So I can click on share. Okay, create invitation link, and I'll just copy this link. Okay, so this is my personal account. I'll just quickly jump to my official account, work account. Okay, so if I go to this work account and open this particular link, just copy the username. This is my work account. So you can see here expenses. Okay, so so this is the new feature that has been released in June. So you can share your personal list to your from personal account to your official account, work account, basically. Okay, so coming to the next one, improved bookmarks administration in Microsoft Search. So I'll quickly go to the Microsoft Search admin center. Okay, so if we come here, so this is the Microsoft search, right? So under settings, you have Microsoft search. And if you see, like you have answers in which you can see bookmarks. So whenever you are going to add a new bookmark, right? So there is a new field called category that has been introduced recently. Okay, it is a dynamic drop down kind of thing. I have already created a category called 365. Okay, so I'll show you what exactly would happen. I just want to go and add a new bookmark. So I'll just add some link to it. I'll just put it as OneDrive. Okay, so if you could see here, there is a categories field. Okay, so once I click here, automatically it picks the values of existing categories. Okay, and if I don't want to select any of the existing one, I can add a new one also. Okay, and just give us a demo. Okay, so this is a new one. Okay, I've just given as a demo and publish this one. Okay, so what will happen is when I'm trying to add a new item, this demo also category will also be listed. So basically all these unique values will be added to the list of categories, and then when they are using it, when you want to add a new bookmark, that will be displayed. And also you will have a field over here called category, which is helpful for you to filter based on the categories also. Okay, so this is a dynamic drop down available, which was introduced recently. Email notification updates and YAML. So basically, whenever you have been tagged or any something important has happened in your Yammer group, what will happen is you will get an email notification, right? So in the Outlook web, so what you can do is you no need to even go to the Yammer app. Just quickly go here. So for example, I got some notification, I have been mentioned. Okay, so I have been mentioned over here. So I just get a notification like this one, email notification. So in the email notification itself, what I can do is I can respond, I can like, I can comment, whatever I want to do, I can do it from here itself. Okay, this is currently available in Outlook web. Okay, soon like it will be released for desktop as well as the mobile apps. Okay. And the Yammer add files in Word Online, right? So for example, if you go to Word Online, I just already opened it. You can see under the insert tab, right? You can see something called add from files. Okay, when you click on this, what will happen is it will allow you to search the documents and attach the files which is available across your company. Okay, so it is really helpful to identify the documents or related documents, or to search the documents that is currently available within your organization. So this is one of the new features that is available in Word Online. Okay, update to sharing links that block download. So this is one of the OneDrive feature that is available. So if you go to OneDrive, sorry. If you go to OneDrive, this feature, like previously, what happens is for all the office related files like Word, PowerPoint, Excel sheets, you have an option when you're sharing it. Okay, so just to go here, I want to go blocks on. So if I go here, and when I'm sharing it, I'll click anyone with the link. So I have an option to block download. Okay, so once I allow editing, I will have an option to block download. This was available only for the Microsoft files. Okay, now what they have done is they have introduced this one for other files also, like PDF files, images, and other stuffs. Okay, so when you click on share, and when you click on anyone with the link can share, allow editing. So this option is currently available for PDFs, images, and other files apart from Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Okay. So coming to the next one, in the admin center, you have an option for storage limit management. So being the administrator, if you want to manage the storage limits, right, default storage limits for the OneDrive users, OneDrive accounts, then you have an option now in the admin center itself. I think previously it used to be using like a PowerShell. Now in the admin center, you have an interface where the admins can manage the storage limits for OneDrive accounts. Okay, and Outlook for Android. Okay, what it is, means is search results include deleted folders also. I'll quickly I can share my mobile, but anyhow, what it means is like if you want to search something in the email or attachments or anything that you want to search. Previously, what it used to happen is it will be returning the results from your inbox and sent items, right? So now in Outlook for Android, it even returns the results from the deleted folder. Okay, even the deleted items will be retrieved in the search results. Okay, I'll quickly share my mobile also. Just give me a minute. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yeah, Vijay.
Okay, I'll just quickly go to the app. So what I was meaning is when you want to search something here, it will even return the results from the deleted folders. Okay, and the next one is gallery support. What it means is when you are creating a new email and you want to add an attachment. Okay, so currently I'm using Android phone where I have my Outlook app. So when I click on attachment, you have an option called choose from photo gallery also. So this is one of the new thing which is currently available in the mobile app. Okay, so choose from photo gallery. It takes me to my mobile photo gallery. Okay, and one next one is like this is also a feature in Outlook for Android. Okay, where work personal contact separation. I'll tell you what exactly that means. Okay, so in this okay, so if you see my Outlook app, I have added two accounts. Okay, if you see currently it is at Vijayanand at C986 on Microsoft.com, and I have added one more account also at the rate M365. Right. So for example, when I'm there in this particular account and when I create a new event or new email and try to search users, right, a search for the contacts. So for example, if I just typed a V, so previously what used to happen is since I have two or three accounts added to my Outlook app, it brings suggestions from all the accounts. But now what they have done is they have made it very clear that if I'm doing some it will give me the contact suggestion only from that particular account alone. It will not be coming from the other accounts. Okay, and the next one is again that is also for Outlook for Android, default online meetings. So whenever if I want to schedule a meeting, okay, so I'll just quickly schedule a meeting. So what happens is whatever your organization default meeting provider, like it can be a Teams or it can be a Skype, right? Whenever you're creating a new event or a new event, what will happen is it automatically picks the default meeting provider. Okay, so as of now, it has not picked it properly. So generally, if it is a Teams, then it will be picking up as a Teams online meeting. Okay, but still you have a toggle button here, which will help you to change it actually. Okay, so I'll quickly go back to my screen. 1 minute. Okay, yeah, so these are the updates which are related to Microsoft Search, Yammer, To Do, Planner, Outlook, and OneDrive. Yeah, Vignesh.
All right. All right. All right, folks. So that's all we wanted to share from our end. We are 7 minutes ahead of the schedule. If at all you have any questions, now would be the right time to unmute yourself and ask, or maybe you want to put it in the chat.
Choose some file itself.
So this question in Android mobile future, choose from file itself. We can attach photos gallery. Then what is the see? Basically, what we are trying to tell is in your Outlook app when you're going to an attachment, right? So now it gives you an option to browse your mobile gallery also. That was one thing which was not there before. Basically, in your Android Outlook app. Folks, any further questions? I understand that this is too much to grasp. You sort of need to chew on it. But if you have any questions, you can bring it.
There's a one update, Vignesh. So there's somebody asked for the migrations of the that SharePoint tool is providing. Yeah, 2016 is also option is there. So like 2013. Yeah, I just ran this tool just now. It's showing all the three options is there.
All right. So 2016, yeah. So we support 2016 also in that case. Yes.